Incremental ratings. So I'm reaching to the end of reacting videos about Supermemo, at least in YouTube. The remaining ones are just the sessions from Winston. Here is the selection related to language learning, those three. So I haven't watched any of those videos in full. I just skimmed them. So now I will just blindly try it to comment on that, and if it's useful, I will share a video. It's very likely that I will just make a big cuts, so I just show you what's worth, even if I spend 3 hours, perhaps the video is 10 minutes long. So let's start with this one, language learning and incremental reading, without specifying any language. Yeah, there's no audio. Perhaps there's audio on the computer.
Bariatrics.
Yes, there are. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Oh my god. But he doesn't speak. That is one example. So he came across this flashcard in incremental reading. It's not a language learning flashcard. It's very bariatric. But perhaps, I know what it is. I know the meaning. But in English, I'm not sure about the pronunciation, right? So in that case, I will create a flashcard as a language flashcard for just its pronunciation. And that's what he just did. Bariatric. Why that is not the same as the sound file we heard because it was British. Bariatric, more or less. I'm not a native speaker. Exactly. So this is the convention similarly to the Advanced English Collection. P stands for pronunciation item. As simple as that. How do you pronounce this word? Yeah. And then you provide the phonetic reading. Merlin, that is an extension, also that triggers a language model based on the query in Google. And in this case, he also creates a definition card. What is the branch of medicine that deals with the study and treatment of obesity? Bariatrics. Then, what is a bariatric surgery? Now makes sense. And the original question, gastric bypass. Exactly, that is what I just meant. Another weight loss surgeries, known collectively as bariatric surgeries. Involve making changes to your digestive system, especially the stomach, to help you lose weight. Yeah, especially if it's a very drastic change, like hundreds of pounds for morbid obesity. In this case, I think he created them as children. Look at his knowledge tree. He has items at the same level, so as siblings of topics. It's quite unusual. That means that he doesn't care. Because at the end of the day, all of this is optional. So if you add this as manually, by copy-pasting, because it was already there, and it's language level, you can just have it like that, no worries. It's absolutely optional. Left control. At least I have here what he's doing. But yes, some key bindings don't make sense. I'm pretty sure that he has his own key bindings with AutoHotkey. And now, what he's doing is linking those elements without a hotkey script. It's one way, so you can manually add these from the clipboard and then make the links. So therefore, Supermemo will know there's a relationship here that you could crawl when you go neural. Oh man, the Windows switch super quick. I'm not used to this flow. What was that? Yeah, link registry. Okay, concepts. Link. Okay. Look how many. Oh, he has created quite a decent amount of science-related vocabulary pronunciation cards. Wow, he really spends his time linking and unlinking. 4 minutes. He spent 4 minutes for this. Okay. I know how this is that important because the priority is not that high. It was 34%. This is rather low. A lot of switching here back and forth. I may guess it's because of the scripts he's triggering. This navigation feels still very robotic. Ah, languages is a folder he has. Gotcha. So he just had a topic that links to that folder. A quite obscure feature, but I don't know he does that. He uses this. Now he uses U English, and he has this in Supermemo. You can have the search customized, the external search. I'm going to show you the. I think I have the defaults, or very similar to the defaults. Web search. You have Supermemo, Free Dictionary, Google, images from Google, Wikipedia, YouTube, and you can define your own. Actually, that's how you do it. So you can have U English and whatever you want. This is so cool. First, you can choose if you only want American, British, or Australian English to begin with. So let's say that I'm interested in American English, then I will filter this. I don't care about the rest. It's what I'm learning. So I really want to see how Americans pronounce this word, and they're real. So usually are a selection of channels. Usually you could guarantee you have high quality and native speakers of English. So you can see in different contexts how this is pronounced. Also works, by the way, with a few sentences if there's a phrase. It's not just one isolated word. And if it's kind of obscure, there will be no hits based on my own usage. That's especially useful for a word that you may know, you are familiar with it, but you have never pronounced out loud. It was only in the written medium. And now is how the heck I pronounce that? Yeah, so here you have, in this case, Wikipedia, the first hit, and AI. He's using all of the browsing, so I know he doesn't import. He won't import the website, the web page, I mean. So at the maximum, he will import a text selection. Let me see what was that? That was, is this an item? Oh yeah, it's an item, looks weird. Yeah, the constellation, here you go. So patrimony here, it's part of the definition of something. Property inherited from one's fathers or male ancestors. Synonym, heritage, inheritance, truant. Oh, nice. Truant is a person who doesn't go to school, who stays away from school without leave or explanation, yeah. And noun of this is truancy. I learned this word from incremental reading myself. Greek, yeah, but what he gets there, I don't see the connection. Oh, he started the subset review. Okay. He was in a subset of the entire outstanding, at least for items. He had more than 5,000. Now he has 100. And he has different. Now it's Italian. So he has the Greek and asked for the Italian. And now he is the Spanish, I'm assuming. El más pesado, el que más pesa. Le plus Lord. Okay. He's interleaving different languages, but also is mixing them. So it's not that, hey, I'm learning Greek, but with English as a vehicular language or lingua franca. Then French, but through English. Then Italian, but through English. So I may learn 5 languages, but all from English as a reference. No. What he's doing, that he's also mixing the reference. So I maybe use learning Spanish, but I don't use Italian as an anchor. I could also do French. And at the same time, once I'm knowledgeable with this, I can use it as an anchor for yet a different language, like Greek. So what was once the language I wanted to learn, now becomes the reference point for yet another language. How cool is that? And he's reading this PDF that is in French and Spanish, right? Yeah. It's the same software that James is using for PDF. The Sumatra PDF, something like that. Okay, that's Spanish. Tartamudear. Tartamudear. That is a quite meta example of its meaning. Yeah, so you can really tell that he's relying on his the hotkey script. What is surprising is the lazy close deletion. Super lazy. I know that now today he doesn't do many items. And that's an example that, hey, English is not limited to English, by the way. Here you have Spanish. This is a good example that perhaps you don't care about the content at all. You care just for the standpoint of the language as a language learner. This is for me especially the case for Korean. I cannot really tell you how much short sections of videos I have watched that the content is what I will have never watched that if it was not for the sake of what the word or the expression that was used on that section. This flow is absolutely magnificent for language learning. Here you have a speaker. I know it's the politics, the prime minister and so on. But yeah, it's you not only have always the same easy speech to understand from the textbooks, especially the language learning textbooks. You have the real deal. You can have a very enthusiastic speaker, different ways to speak the language, melodies that you have this exposure already of the language. That's a different case. So he's reading something, I think, yeah, that's about Parkinson disease in Spanish. But you don't want that for the sake of learning about Parkinson. You already know that. You're familiar with this. But you do it in a second language that you're learning. This is more advanced. You cannot do this since day one, but it's a good approach. So you can learn the language while you're reading something that you care about. Like for instance, I tried to learn the Korean version of the Wikipedia article about memory, or just whatever I find in Google about memory in Korean language. Because sometimes the Wikipedia for Korean, it's very short. It's not that something you can use for reading. And I mention Korean because it's the only language that I started learning in adulthood that I keep learning. So he converted the sound file so he can use it in Supermemo, I guess. Yeah, it's so tedious to work with audio in Supermemo. And by the way, for reference, his native language is Chinese, now that I say it. He's reading the Bible in Greek. And that's just a screenshot.
Metanoite.
And this is a screenshot of a YouTube video. And he relies on that as the question because the question as text, the HTML component, is absolutely empty. So he's recording the audio manually from his computer. So he manually creates a screenshot of the text. He manually recorded the sound from his computer using the Audacity. That's a lot of work. So even if you kind of semi-automatize this without a hotkey, it's quite a lot of labor. Yeah, he has an auto hotkey for this. And even third parties. There are other tools you can use for YouTube videos to create flashcards. Not with Supermemo, but with Anki, for instance. Something I did. Let me know in the comments if you want to show this, because I never used this computer that I use for recording. That's Advanced English collection. So he uses multiple collections. He just search for languages, which I may guess is a superset of the English collection. Lol. Oh, it becomes unpleasant. A very good example to memorize, because this video is very memorable. It will be really hard for me to forget what I just felt. So gross. Oh my
Thank
God.
you very much.
And he's linking the video. Okay. Very quickly moved on from that. Almost everything it's pending is because
what shall we do?
It's from the Advanced English collection. Medical biology, yet another collection. Quite specific, just medical biology. And this, I think, comes from Piotr Wozniak as well. It's not just the Advanced English collection. There was a website, I think now it's not online, that you could buy other collections. And even user-generated collections, like Watanki's shared deck. And Piotr Wozniak had biology, programming, and some other stuff. I'm talking about more than 20 years ago. And I know that Winston has some copies of those collections. Come on, what is this question? What is the level of endorphin released at orgasm? Answer, increased. I'm sorry, increase is not a level. Oh my god. I will not phrase it like that. So it says that the title of the video is language learning and incremental reading. So now it's the part of incremental reading. It's no longer a language, and in this case seems like it's a pre-built collection. Who infects what percentage of the population each year? And this is taken from, the data is taken from the US 1999. It's a good detail, because if the source is from, I don't know, a different year, 2020, and from, I don't know, from Japan, this could be different. So it's good to have the time stamp of the data. Yeah, that is not much mystery. It's pre-built. He doesn't formulate at all. So it's just him going through the repetitions. He has one collection specifically for gods of mythologies. This could be a concept group. It sounds like overly specific for a collection.
The good guy.
He only has seven elements. Such an overkill. Well, 60, because he has pending queue. Okay. Look how many collections he has. First, not all of them are in the same folder, by the way. He has like 20 different collections. Oh my god. Yep, that's all for this session. There are no comments. So let's follow with the next one. In this case, is specifically French and Latin. And it was done 3 days after the first one. It was done 3 days later. Wow. That is one of the very lazy closes. So you have all of the text feeds in the entire screen, the entire component, and he makes the closation just for proudly in this context. Yeah, I mean, you could do it, but then what he would do is going all left and delete, for instance, from here, and say pass, well, I know how it's pronounced like this, pam, pam, pam. So I have all of this sentence. And even the next sentence, just in case, is needed for context. But there's no need to have the entire thing, just for that word. Verbo is a good choice if you want human audio, not text or speech, AI. This method has a name. I think it's one Russian name, comes from the author. I'll look it up and put it on the screen when editing. But basically, you only have the target language, in this case French, and then you have English on only the parts that you're not familiar with. You need the translation. And you put these in different parts. So the more you know, the less parts you will do, or the other way around. The more unfamiliar, the less knowledgeable you are with that language, the more closes you will need to do. And eventually, you will need less and less your own language, and you will be able to understand the target language. And you put it like this, in parentheses in English. Now he has Latin. Look at the knowledge tree. So he has Greek, French, so Greek, but coming from French as the lingua franca, or Spanish as lingua franca, or Italian as lingua franca. He has a concept for each combination, each language pair. Then he has Latin, and this is just the ancient. That is 300. He has more languages, but doesn't fit the screen. Assuming it will be French, Italian, Spanish, and so on. So everything is put together in all. So you have different languages, and you specify this in one single place. And then you only have one collection just for Greek gods or mythology. Why not creating a Greek collection? that you could combine with other languages, other pairs. I don't know. Yeah, it's the same flow, with the only difference is that there's a sentence. So this is more like a sentence flashcard for the sake of learning the language. Sometimes it's a complete paragraph because it's from a genuine source. That the purpose is not the language. The purpose is to communicate an idea, a description. I forgot already what it was. Yeah, Alzheimer's or something like that. That's the difference. And there's still another video. In this case, ancient Greek, Spanish, and German. And again, 3 days after that. So it's just a coincidence that there are 3 days between each session. And the sessions usually they are about 1 hour, hour and 15. That seems to be his threshold. Oh, that was super loud. Is this Bach? I know he's a super fan. It's funny because Spanish is one of my native languages, and I don't ever use it I have only used it in Supermemo for the MBA, which then I regret. I stopped doing so. So I'm pretty sure he uses more Spanish than I do, even if I'm a native language. It's very ironic. All I do is in English. For instance, for tutoring, I offer tutoring in Spanish and in English and Spanish. And I think this year I only had 2 people in Spanish. The rest is in English. So it's like enough to exist, but I don't use Spanish that much. Not for myself, basically. So it's good to know that he's using it for Greek and also German. I never seen German in his videos yet. And it's not just Greek, it's the ancient Greek. You have to really love languages for that. Japanese, this is not in the title right away. It's kind of limited, the furigana in Supermemo. It can be achieved, but you can do quite a lot of trickery, and it's not that friendly to edit this and so on. So I will not suggest to use this in Supermemo. Well, one question that I ask, usual questions, that, hey, do you eat while you use Supermemo? Do you listen to music when you use Supermemo? Well, at least I know that sometimes Winston does, because it's on record. He listens to classical music. And yeah, he's doing more Japanese, even though it's not in the title. He just used the clipboard, and that is so nice. So you could learn Latin in this case through English, through Japanese, through any other language that you already speak or kind of speak. You don't have to be fluent. Here's the German. It's more about grammar. Usually if you want to learn grammar, use sentences. Eventually you will get the big picture of the grammars. There's no way, like in the school system, to formally learn the grammar rules, the exceptions. Humans doesn't work that way. So you use sentences that those sentences are applying those rules, or are the exceptions of the rules, and so on. It was a YouTube video from Bach. That was what I was listening the entire time. Yeah, more or less is his flow. That doesn't mean that you need to replicate this. This works for him. I will not do that myself, but at least it's good to cover what other people use Supermemo with or for. So not just me and my flows. Hey, look at that. You even need to scroll on the question in the item. That's enormous. You could delete this section. And I have a feeling I haven't had any explicit remark that he's setting priorities. Perhaps he's without a hotkey that I'm not even aware. He's changing that. And he always uses subset reviews. At least in those 3 videos, it's always subsets. He doesn't do the outstanding queue altogether. Yeah, and I think that's it. 19 videos, 19 views, also no comments. So that was all. That covers all of the language learning an incremental reading with Supermemo done by Winston Polymath. Nothing more to add today, and see you incrementally.